All right, let's see if we can't make this hood look a little bit better. A little better.
What's that?
Right below 1,000, 800 or so. Burning pretty good for older gas. Take it on its first drive. I don't have a good source of checking the temperature. The water temp gauge on the inside, the OE one, doesn't seem to be functioning. The one we've got set up already in the car is not wired in yet, so I've got to go through and do a bunch of wiring, get all the gauges functioning. I think we're safe to take it up, just up the road, just kind of see and smell, make sure it doesn't overheat, and bring it back. No puddles is a good sign. Maybe a very small drip here. First drive. What's your opinion on alignmentless coupe?
It needs an alignment really, really bad. It's not even drivable.
Not drivable. Pretty scary.
Yeah.
We made it back home. We're in one piece. Thought about doing a toe plate alignment in the shop, but I think we're just going to trailer it and kind of cut that part out. Got some wiring to do on it. Yeah, gonna get the new radio in it. I did notice that the wiring for the fans are not super great. The actual ground on it starts to get pretty hot, so there's some resistance there. Need to figure out what's causing that, get it corrected. Probably just need some good soldering. So, but it did stay together. It didn't overheat. I don't know what the temperature is. Once we get the gauges wired up, we'll figure out what that is and make sure it's good to drive longer distance even after we get the alignment. But we're stoked on it. Can't wait. So, yeah. I'm gonna go grab some food. Figured I'd introduce you guys a little bit more to the JZX. And I think we're gonna take it out, maybe shoot a couple clips on the street. We'll kind of see how that goes. Got a new front-facing microphone setup, so hopefully it does sound a little bit better as well. But I'm hoping that that setup will actually work on the car. Got a little GoPro mount to stick on the windshield itself, and if that makes it sound a little bit better, because you got the wastegate right there, turbo pretty close as well. So we'll see how it sounds, see how it does.
Yeah.
force all the stuff underneath the dash. We can get the, you know, the blower motor. We won't really be able to run AC, I don't think, until much later on. But we can certainly get heat going for whenever it gets cold again.
Yeah. Heat for sure. AC is like kind of must have.
It's kind of crazy we live so close to Mexico. Last night was fun. But it's back to business. We need to get back to focusing on the cosmetics of the car as well as the electronics of the car. Noticing that the switch for the fans were getting hot as far as the wiring coming off of them makes me think that there is some sort of resistance issue, some grounding issue. So I'll be looking into that today, trying to get that sorted and figured out. But we do need to work on a lot of the imperfections in the paint on the outside. So when we got the vehicle, it had been freshly painted, but it wasn't the highest quality. You can tell by these little sections where there's actually runs in the paint themselves. We tried to wet sand the vehicle when we first got it to get rid of a lot of this stuff, but we actually noticed that we went through the paint in a couple of spots down to what looks like to be primer or maybe even just bare metal. So realizing that it's not going to be a perfect car, we want to at least make it look as nice as possible, and we can get out a lot of these blemishes just by compounding, which I've done here on the hood. My buffer itself actually started to disintegrate. I don't know if it's because I was using too much force or if because this is actually old, but as you can tell here, it started to split. I've got two more on the way just in case. This disc, I wonder if maybe is a design flaw with not being large enough, but maybe letting you feather. I might just try to keep it flat as even as possible without rubbing up on the edges. That might be what's doing it, and just keeping an even pressure all the way around, but not too much pressure to cause this kind of tearing. As you can tell in the video, the alignment was actually causing the vehicle to sway all over like crazy. Super unstable, so we brought it back to the house. We didn't feel like chancing driving all the way 30 minutes away to get the alignment. Decided on trailering. I think it's the best bet and also safer. We don't really want to put people's lives in danger around us as we're on the way to the alignment rack. During the test drive as well, we noticed that the e-brake wasn't working still. I'm hoping that there's some extra adjustment here, and if not, I'll have to go back underneath the vehicle, see if I can pull that bracket back to add more tension to where we can get the amount of tension on this handle so the handle will go up about yay high and be full locking. If not, there's also that extra adjustment on the back. Maybe difficult to see, but there is a small 10mm nut inside of there, and I'm going to see if that's been fully adjusted yet or not. Nice. Looks like there's some threads left on that guy. So hopefully be able to get all the tension worked out of it from up here, because everything else back there did seem pretty tight and snug. Alright, I was actually able to get a significant amount of tension and threads from this rod. So here's maximum engagement, pulling pretty hard, right where you want to be. And let's see if we can move the vehicle freely. Oh yeah, beautiful.
Okay, we'll do one click up on the handbrake.
Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. So now once we know we pull all the way up on the handbrake itself, it should lock the rears and give us what we need. So now that the e-brake's been adjusted, let's see if we can tackle this wiring. I found out why most of the gauges didn't work. They're just completely in there without any wiring whatsoever. So we really didn't like this 3-pillar setup. I'm just gonna remove it. I found that it still has the trim behind it. So yeah, let's get this thing out of here, dude. Oh, look at that beautiful blue stock pillar. Bye. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. Look at all that nastiness in there. I think I just got hepatitis M. The rat's nest. Yum. What kind of nonsense is this? Looks like someone wired in all this, I'm guessing are LEDs. I'm gonna pull the front cover and just see what's going on, but yeah, this is not what you want to see. Got these random grounds in. Just rubbish, man. That's rubbish. I'm gonna get all these removed. I'll figure out what type of bulb that these take, and hopefully I can get it back to the factory style bulbs and away from whatever this is. The nice thing is he didn't completely cut off these original connectors. Sorry, this one and this one here. So he didn't completely cut these off. So I'm hoping I've got enough, just enough where I can snip these and solder them back, and then cut out this aftermarket one in place of the correct aftermarket one for the new head unit. Started wiring up the old gauges, got rid of the A-pillar as you've seen. One thing I'm extremely stoked about is Greddy temp gauge, which is old retro. It didn't have a sensor on the car, so it wasn't plugged up. It was ran through to the firewall, but not plugged up. So I found an aftermarket connector that I had, so I was able to run this on, cut out this hose, and put this guy in, which happened to be the same size. And then this sensor here that goes into this adapter is the correct sensor plug for the Greddy unit. So I'm hoping that this actually works, and I'm pretty excited about that, so we can keep that Greddy gauge in there. I'll need to zip tie this up and out of the way as best I can. It does read in Celsius, but I think we'll be able to convert that and be comfortable once we figure out what's a hot temperature in Celsius that we'll need to watch out for, and then Melody can kind of monitor that and make sure she doesn't go. One of the other big things we noticed was that someone had actually chopped the top of the shifter off and removed the threads. I was able to grind down the metal itself and then just thread just enough to where it'll hold on the new shifter. I found that the brakes themselves, all of the bolts that bolt it to the firewall were completely loose and missing. These bolts here that hold in the steering column were missing, and then only one of these was actually holding it in, and it was cross-threaded. So the steering column should feel a whole lot more connected now, as well as the brake system feeling more connected as well. So I did also find in my stash one of these stock connector converters for an aftermarket radio. So essentially it connects the original clips that go to the car to the aftermarket head unit. So if you want to remove that head unit later on and you want to put in a different head unit, or you just want to change the audio system, it allows you to quickly disconnect them rather than having to cut and then resolder all the wiring again. So we'll solder these in to the connectors to the aftermarket radio's wiring, and then from there I can just plug them right into the factory clips. These cutoff pins are so short, I'm going to remove this yellow clip and I'm going to attempt to depin these. That'll give me a little bit more room for soldering on the new connections. So now that they're depinned, I've got a little bit more access to what's left. So I'm going to go ahead and wire strip these as close to the base as I can get it. Alright, got them all done. Let's get them pinned back in. Alright, got them all pinned back in. They look good. Now that the in-car soldering is over, we can get to the much more enjoyable stuff of bench soldering. So this is much easier. All I'm going to do, I'm going to match the colors with the color and solder them together. A lot easier to do than being in the car, tight space, back in an awkward position. Much, much better. All right, got everything soldered. Looks somewhat half decent. So we'll go ahead and connect it up and just make sure everything works. All right, got everything snapped in place. Got this connector on there, this connector on there, and then plugged into the back of the head unit itself. Now, let's see if it blows up. But do the speakers work? That's the ultimate question. So one of the things I think is neat, you can do this boot logo settings on this thing. Look at these manufacturers. You just find yourself the Nissan, boy. Bam! Check this out. Whenever the car loads, bam, it's got a Nissan emblem. Put on some non-copyright music.
I don't have any non-copyright.
Alright, we got the radio working. Not exactly sure how. I just turned the volume up a lot after checking fuses and stuff, and they just, bam, they just came on. So maybe it's just like old speakers being stuck, kind of like injectors do, and needing some extra voltage to get them going. But yeah, you have to take our word for it, but they are functioning, and it is, yeah, sounds great. But I'll go ahead and end it here, as we've got to get to a birthday dinner at our friends. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, commenting. Like I said, let me know what you want to see. I'm going to try to get different cars in here, revolve different projects as I go. Just mainly focusing on the wife's coupe for now to get that thing out of the way. And that way she can enjoy it on the road and have an S chassis again that she can drive. But thank you guys so much again. I absolutely appreciate it. And remember, keep moving doorward.